She did not ask him to save her. She asked him to kill her. Those were the first words Amaya spoke to the man who would own her. Make it fast, make it final, just don't make it last. Silas Warren thought he was buying property that humid morning at a Carolina auction. What he bought was a mirror, one that reflected every sin he had spent 40 years refusing to see. The moment he unwrapped that filthy blanket and saw what slavery truly looked like written on her flesh, his world began to crack. And when a hardened rancher and a brutalized woman are locked in a battle between power and survival, love and liberation, no one walks away unchanged. If you feel the tension rising, subscribe and tell me where you are. The air hung thick with salt and sweat. Silas stood at the edge of the crowded dock, eyes fixed on the auctioneer's platform. "Lot 47, the man shouted. 4 field hands, 1 kitchen girl." Silas felt sick. He pushed the feeling down deep where it could not touch his face. The crowd pressed closer. Men laughed. Money changed hands. Silas had come to settle a debt, nothing more. "She's damaged goods," someone near him said. "Look at the blanket." A young woman lay motionless on the platform. Filthy cloth wrapped her completely. Only her face showed, slack and hollow-eyed. "Throw her in with the lot," the auctioneer called. "No extra charge for broken stock." Silas's jaw tightened. He raised his hand before he could think better of it. "Sold to Warren," the auctioneer said. The hammer fell. Silas signed the papers with hands that wanted to shake. He told himself this was business. This was the way of the world. This was necessary. He walked to the wagon where they loaded his purchases. The young woman lay among the others, unmoving. Her eyes opened once. They found his face. Something in her gaze made his chest feel strange. "Load up," he said. His voice was cold. "We ride at dusk." The workers obeyed. Silas climbed onto his horse. He did not look back at the platform, but he could still hear the hammer. He could still see those eyes. They followed him all the way home. The wagon jolted over deep ruts in the darkening road. Silas rode ahead, trying to focus on the path. Behind him someone moaned. He recognized the sound. Pain. Fear. Despair. "Water," a man's voice rasped. "Quiet," the driver snapped. The wheels hit another rut. A sharp cry cut through the evening air. Silas pulled his horse to a stop. He turned in the saddle. The young woman from the auction sat upright now. The blanket had fallen from her shoulders. Her eyes were wild. "Please," she whispered. Her voice was raw. "Please, master." Silas dismounted. He approached the wagon slowly. The other captives shrank back. "What do you need?" he asked. "Just kill me fast." Her words came out broken. "Do not make it slow. Do not give me to another man. Just kill me now." Silas felt his breath stop. He stared at her. She was not begging for mercy. She was begging for death. "I won't hurt you," he said. "Then kill me." Tears ran down her face. "Please, I cannot do this again." The lantern light caught the terror in her eyes. Silas saw himself reflected there. A master. A man with power. A man who owned her body. She thought death was kinder than his roof. "We ride on," he said. His voice sounded wrong. "You will not be harmed." She laughed. It was a horrible sound, empty of hope. The wagon rolled forward into the gathering dark. Morning light fell harsh across the ranch courtyard. Silas had not slept. Her words circled his mind without stopping. "Bring the new girl to the wash house," he told Jonah. Jonah was old, steady, and careful. He nodded once. His eyes held questions he would not ask. They carried her inside. She did not resist. She did not speak. "I need to see her condition," Silas said. "For the records." Jonah hesitated. "Sir, she is not well." "I know that," Silas felt angry, though not at Jonah. Open the blanket. Jonah's hands were gentle. He pulled the cloth back slowly. Silas stumbled backward. His stomach turned hard and sick. Lash marks covered her back in raised, infected lines. Burns dotted her shoulders. Metal cuffs had worn her wrists to raw wounds. Fever made her skin burn. God, Silas whispered. This was not discipline. This was destruction. This was torture made legal by men like him. Sir, Jonah's voice was soft. Silas turned away. He walked 3 steps. He stopped. He could not move farther. Tend her wounds, he said. Use whatever you need. Spare no expense. Yes, sir. Silas left the wash house. The morning sun felt too bright. The air tasted like ash. He had seen the cost of his world. He could not unsee it. The household gathered in the kitchen at midday. Nathaniel leaned against the doorframe, smirking. Temperance Caldwell sat primly at the table. This is Amaya, Silas said. The name felt strange on his tongue. She works in the kitchen now. Amaya stood near the wall, her eyes fixed on the floor. She wore a clean dress, but it hung loose on her thin frame. She looks half dead, Nathaniel said. He laughed. You overpaid, cousin. That is enough. Silas's voice cut sharp. Temperance smiled. You are kind to take in such unfortunates, Mr. Warren. Firm stewardship requires Christian charity. Silas felt something twist inside his chest. Charity, as if kindness could exist where ownership did. She needs time to recover, he said. Time spoils them, Nathaniel said. Break them in hard. Break them in fast. That is what I always say. Amaya did not move, did not speak, but Silas saw her hands curl into fists. She works under Jonah's supervision, Silas said. No one touches her without my permission. Nathaniel's eyes narrowed. You are too soft. You always were. Temperance nodded. Order must be maintained. The Bible is clear on that. Silas looked at Amaya. She would not meet his gaze. She stood like stone, silent and contained. He wondered what it cost her to breathe in. This room. Morning sun poured into the kitchen. Amaya carried a water bucket across the floor. Her hands shook slightly. The bucket tilted. Water splashed onto Nathaniel's boot. He grabbed her arm. Clumsy bitch. Amaya went rigid. She did not pull away. She barely breathed. She needs to be whipped, Nathaniel said loudly. Right now, in the yard where everyone can see. Silas was there in 3 strides. Let her go. She ruined my boot. It is water. Silas's voice was cold. It will dry. She needs discipline, Nathaniel insisted, or she will think she can do anything. Workers had gathered in the doorway. They watched silently. Silas felt their eyes like weight. She is still recovering, Silas said. Punishment now would be wasteful. Wasteful? Nathaniel's laugh was sharp. You sound like a fool. I sound like a man who knows the value of his property. Silas hated the words, but they worked. Nathaniel released Amaya's arm. He stepped back, smirking. As you say, cousin. He left. The workers dispersed. Amaya stood frozen, staring at nothing. Are you hurt? Silas asked quietly. She did not answer. She picked up the bucket. She walked away without looking back. Silas watched her go. He had stopped the whip, but she had not thanked him. She had only looked more afraid. Night filled the small storeroom with shadows. A single candle flickered on a crate. Amaya sat on her pallet, knees drawn up. Silas knocked softly. May I enter? Silence. Then, you own the door. He stepped inside. The space felt too small, too intimate. I need to understand what happened to you, he said, before you came here. Why? Her voice was flat. So I can protect you. She laughed without sound. You cannot. Tell me anyway. Amaya stared at the candle. There was a plan, An uprising. They wanted names from me. Silas felt his pulse quicken. Did you give them? No. So they punished you. They destroyed me. Her words were simple, final. They made an example, so others would fear and speak. Silas sat down slowly on the floor. If I report this, I could gain favor, money, influence. I know. I will not tell anyone, he said. She looked at him then. Her eyes were hard. Why not? I do not know. The candle flame danced between them. Silas felt the weight of the secret settling into his chest. No man in my house will touch you, he said. Not without your consent. Amaya's expression did not change. Consent? What a strange word for a slave to hear. I mean it. You own me, she said. Meaning is nothing against that. Silas stood. His throat felt tight. Nevertheless. He left before she could speak again. The church was small and dim. Morning light struggled through narrow windows. Silas sat in the third pew, spine straight. Masters, Reverend Pike intoned, you bear a sacred duty. Rule justly. Govern with wisdom. Remember that all souls belong to God. Silas heard the words. They sounded hollow, empty of truth. At the back wall, Amaya stood with the other enslaved people. She did not understand the English sermon, but she felt every gaze. Women whispered behind their hands. Men assessed her youth, her face. She was property on display. Temperance leaned toward her neighbor. That poor girl, so damaged. Mr. Warren is very charitable. Silas wanted to stand, to shout, to tell them all what charity really looked like. Scars, terror, a woman begging for death. But he stayed silent. Coward. The word echoed in his skull. Let us pray, Pike said, for order, for obedience, for the natural hierarchy God ordained. Silas bowed his head. He did not pray. He thought of Amaya's wounds, her hollow eyes, her whispered plea. The congregation murmured, Amen. Silas felt sick. Across the room, Amaya's gaze found his for one brief second. Then she looked away. She knew. She knew he would not defend her here. A rider came at midday. Silas recognized him. Thomas Harrow, a neighboring planter known for brutality. Heard you got new stock, Harrow said. He dismounted heavily. The young one. I will buy her. Silas felt his chest tighten. She is not for sale. Everything is for sale. Harrow grinned. I will pay double what you gave. Nathaniel appeared from the barn. That is a generous offer, cousin. You should consider it. No, Silas said. Triple, Harrow said. She is pretty enough. I could use her. The way he said use made Silas want to hit him. His hands curled into fists. She stays here, Silas said. His voice was hard. She is useful in the kitchen. Useful, Harrow laughed. Sure she is. The answer is no. Harrow's smile faded. You are making a mistake, Warren. Soft masters breed trouble. Then I will handle my own trouble. Harrow mounted his horse. We will see how long your charity lasts. He rode away. Dust rose in his wake. Nathaniel turned to Silas. You are a fool. That was easy money. Go check the herd, Silas snapped. Nathaniel left, muttering. Silas stood alone in the yard. Amaya watched from the kitchen window. He saw her pale face through the glass. He had refused to sell her, but her life still hung on his whim. Early morning light touched the herb garden. Amaya knelt in the dirt, hands gentle on fragile stems. Jonah had given her seeds. She had planted them. Your mother taught you this? Jonah asked quietly. Yes. Amaya's voice was soft. Before they took me. She murmured words in her own language. The plants seemed to listen. Silas watched from the veranda, pretending to review accounts. She talks to them, Jonah said, appearing beside him. I see that. It is healing for her, to remember who she was. Silas felt something shift in his chest. She was not just surviving. She was planting roots, claiming small pieces of life. Does she speak to you? Silas asked. Sometimes. Jonah was careful. She asks questions about freedom, about the law. What do you tell her? The truth, that freedom here is a dream most of us will never see. Silas watched, Amaya's hands move through the soil. Dirt stained her fingers. Her face held concentration, not fear. She is stronger than she seems, Jonah said. I know. And more dangerous to your peace. Silas looked at him sharply. Jonah's expression remained neutral. I do not know what you mean, Silas said. Yes, sir, you do. Jonah walked away. Silas returned his gaze to the garden. Amaya stood, brushing dirt from her skirt. She glanced up at the veranda. Their eyes met. She did not look away this time. Something passed between them. Recognition. Acknowledgement. Danger. Silas felt his breath catch. He turned back to his ledgers. The numbers blurred. He could still see her face. She was becoming real to him. That terrified him more than anything. Dark clouds massed over the pasture. Wind bent the grass flat. Silas stood in the yard with Nathaniel, tension crackling. We should move the herd now, Nathaniel said, before the storm hits. The river is already high, Silas said. It is too dangerous. Dangerous is losing cattle to panic. Nathaniel's voice was sharp. Profit demands risk. Profit demands living workers and living stock. Thunder rumbled. Nathaniel laughed. You have gone soft, worrying about slaves and cattle equally. I worry about smart decisions. Then decide smartly, move the herd or lose money. Amaya appeared with a water pitcher. She moved silently between them. Both men stopped talking. She felt their tension. It reminded her of other nights, men drinking, tempers rising, women disappearing into the dark. Thank you, Silas said as she poured. His voice was gentle. She did not respond. She walked back toward the kitchen. Her shoulders were tight. She is too proud, Nathaniel said. You let her walk around like she is a person. She is a person. Nathaniel stared at him. You really have lost your mind. The wind picked up. Rain began to fall in heavy drops. Storm is here, Silas said. Ready the men? For what? Sitting idle while the herd scatters? For saving what we can without killing anyone. Nathaniel's jaw tightened, but he obeyed. Silas watched the sky darken. He felt disaster building. Something would break tonight. He could feel it. Rain hammered the earth. Thunder cracked overhead. The cattle bellowed, terrified. They surged toward the swollen river. Move, move, Silas shouted. His horse lunged forward. Nathaniel rode hard on the left flank. Jonah and 3 others struggled on the right. Water churned the ground to mud. Lightning split the sky. The herd panicked completely. Hooves pounded. The night became chaos. Amaya stood in the doorway of the house. She watched the lanterns bob in the darkness. She heard men shouting. Fear twisted in her stomach. Stay inside, a woman told her. This is men's work. But Amaya remembered storms on ships, remembered screaming, remembered being helpless while others decided who lived and died. She grabbed a lantern. She ran into the rain. Get back, someone yelled. She ignored them. She could see Silas near the river's edge. His horse reared, wild-eyed. The animal bolted. Silas fell hard. Mud and water swallowed him. Amaya scrambled down the bank. Her feet slipped. She caught herself. She reached him as Jonah arrived from the other side. Grab his arm, Jonah shouted. Amaya seized Silas's coat. Jonah took his other arm. They dragged him up the slope together. Hooves pounded past them in the dark. They collapsed under a tree. Rain poured down. Silas coughed, gasping. His hand found Amaya's arm. He gripped it hard. "You should not be here." "You would be dead," she said. Their eyes met in the lantern light. Something raw passed between them. Not gratitude, not obligation, recognition. She had chosen to save him. Silas's bedroom glowed with candlelight. He sat shirtless on the bed, wincing. A gash ran along his shoulder, angry and deep. Amaya worked silently. She cleaned the wound with herbs and cool water. Jonah stood guard at the door. "This will hurt," she said. "I know." She pressed the cloth down. Silas hissed through his teeth. Amaya felt his pain. She did not stop. "I am sorry," Silas said. Fever made his voice rough. "I am sorry for all of it." "For what?" Amaya did not look at his face. "For owning you, for profiting from your suffering, for being part of the world that destroyed you." Amaya's hands stilled. "Sorry means nothing." "I know." "You still hold the keys," she said. Her voice was flat, but her eyes burned. "Regret is nothing while you hold the keys." Silas closed his eyes. "What would you have me do?" "Let me go." "I cannot." The words came out broken. "Not yet. Not safely." "Then your sorrow is selfish." She tied the bandage tight. "You want forgiveness without sacrifice." The candle flickered. Silence stretched between them. Heavy. Dangerous. "You are right," Silas whispered. Amaya stood. She gathered the bloody cloths. Her hands shook slightly. "You saved my life tonight," Silas said. "Why?" She looked at him finally. "I do not know." She left the room. Jonah followed. The door closed softly. Silas lay back. His shoulder throbbed. His chest felt hollow. She was right. Sorry was nothing. Action was everything. And he was afraid of what action would cost. Dawn light crept through the windows. Amaya slipped from Silas's room, bloody cloths in her arms. Her movements were quiet. Practiced. The side door opened. Temperance Caldwell stood there with a basket of preserves. Her eyes widened. Amaya froze. Temperance's gaze traveled from the cloths to Amaya's face, to the bedroom door behind her. "Good morning," Temperance said. Her voice was too sweet. "Good morning, ma'am." Amaya kept her eyes down. "You were tending Mr. Warren's injury, I assume?" "Yes, ma'am." "At dawn, in his bedroom, alone." "Jonah was there," Amaya said quietly. Temperance smiled. It did not reach her eyes. "Of course. How proper." She swept past into the kitchen. Amaya hurried to the wash-house. Her heart pounded. She had done. Nothing wrong. But wrong did not matter. Perception was everything. And she had been seen. Inside the kitchen, Temperance found Silas dressed and pale. "You look unwell, Mr. Warren." "The storm was difficult," he said. "I imagine." She set down her basket. "Your girl was very attentive, I see." Silas felt cold. "She knows healing herbs. Jonah supervised." "Naturally." Temperance arranged the jars carefully. "Still, appearances matter. You know how people talk." "There is nothing to talk about." "I hope not." Her voice was soft, dangerous. "For everyone's sake." She left with a smile. Silas stood alone in the kitchen. He felt the trap closing. One glimpse, one assumption. That was all it took. Amaya could be destroyed by something she did not even do. Sunday morning filled the small church with strained sunlight. Silas took his usual seat. Whispers followed him. Women leaned close to each other. Men's eyes were hard with judgment. Silas felt every gaze. At the back wall, Amaya stood with the others. She sensed the hostility. It pressed against her skin without needing words. Reverend Pike climbed to the pulpit. His face was pale. "We must speak of temptation today." Silas's jaw tightened. He knew what was coming. Masters bear great responsibility, Pike said. They must maintain order, purity, proper boundaries between themselves and those under their authority. Temperance nodded vigorously. Others murmured agreement. When a man allows impropriety, he endangers his soul, and the souls of his household. Amaya did not understand every word, but she understood enough. They were talking about her, about shame, about sin. She was the sin, just by existing, just by breathing. Let us remember, Pike continued, that order is divine. Chaos is the devil's work. Silas wanted to stand, to shout, to tell them all they were hypocrites who called slavery holy and kindness sin. But he stayed silent. Again. Always. The sermon ended. People filed out. Silas walked past them without speaking. Amaya followed at a distance. She felt eyes on her back, felt hatred that needed no translation. She was becoming dangerous. Not because of what she did, because of what others imagined she could make a white man feel. Reverend Pike's study smelled of old books and candle wax. Silas sat stiffly in a hard chair. "I need legal information," he said. "Hypothetically." Pike looked nervous. "About what matter?" "Manumission, freeing slaves." The Reverend's face went pale. "That is a dangerous topic, Mr. Warren." "But possible?" "Possible. Not easy." Pike pulled a worn book from the shelf. "The law requires bonds, fees, witnesses, proof of good character." "How much?" "For one person? Significant? Your entire operation? Financially ruinous." Silas felt his chest tighten. "What else?" "Social consequences." Pike's voice dropped. "You would be suspect, watched. Any hint of improper motivation would destroy you." "Improper motivation?" "If people believe you are freeing someone because of attachment, desire." Pike could not meet his eyes. That would be unforgivable. Silas understood. To free Amaya was dangerous. To free her while caring about her was death. "Could it be done quietly?" he asked. "Nothing is quiet in this colony." Pike closed the book. "Why do you ask?" "Conscience." Pike studied him. "Conscience is a luxury for men without property. You have too much to lose." "Perhaps I should lose it." The Reverend looked shocked, then afraid. "Do not speak such things, even to me." Silas stood. "Thank you for your time." He left with notes folded in his pocket. They felt heavy, like weapons, like hope. Outside, the sun was too bright. His horse waited patiently. Silas mounted. He rode home. A line had been crossed inside him. He could not go back. The afternoon air hung thick and still. Silas had ridden to town for signatures. The ranch felt empty without him. Nathaniel saw his opportunity. He strode into the kitchen where Amaya worked. "You did not answer me this morning." "I did not hear a question." Amaya kept her eyes on the pot. "There it is, that pride." Nathaniel's voice was loud, intentional. "You need to learn respect." Workers gathered in the doorway. Jonah appeared, tense. "Tie her to the post," Nathaniel ordered. 10 lashes, now." Amaya went rigid. She did not move, did not speak. "Sir," Jonah said carefully, "Mr. Warren said—" "Mr. Warren is not here. I am in charge." 2 men grabbed Amaya's arms. She did not resist. Resistance meant death. She had learned that lesson well. They dragged her to the yard. The post stood ready. They tied her wrists. Nathaniel took the whip. He smiled. "This is for your own good." Jonah caught a young boy's eye. "Ride, fast, find Mr. Warren." The boy ran. Amaya closed her eyes. She felt the sun on her face. She prayed for anything. Death, mercy, speed. Nathaniel raised the whip high. The leather whistled through the air. Hooves thundered. A horse crashed into the yard. Silas was there, roaring. "Stop! I said stop!" He threw himself between Amaya and the whip. The leather caught his arm. He did not flinch. "Cut her down," he said. His voice was deadly quiet. Nathaniel lowered the whip. She was insolent. "Cut her down." They obeyed. Amaya's knees buckled. Jonah caught her. Silas stepped close to Nathaniel. "If you touch her again," Silas said, "I will kill you myself." The yard went silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Amaya trembled. Safe. For now, but only because he was here. Her safety was just his presence. Nothing more. Evening heat filled the kitchen. Silas laid papers on the table. Amaya stared at them without touching. "These are manumission documents," he said. "For you, for Jonah. I am working to finalize them." Amaya felt something crack inside her chest. Hope, fury, terror. "When?" "It takes time, money, legal procedures." "How much time?" "Months, perhaps. I am doing everything I can." She looked at him finally. Her eyes were wet. "You are giving me freedom on your schedule." "I am giving you freedom," Silas said. His voice was rough. "No," Amaya stood. "You are processing paperwork. Freedom is not a gift. It is what you stole." "I did not steal you." "But you keep me." Her hands shook. "You decide when. You decide how. That is not freedom. That is mercy." Silas felt anger rise. "What would you have me do? Rush this and get you killed?" "I would have you understand." Her voice cracked. "Every day I wait is another day I am not human, not whole, not mine. I am risking everything for this. And I am grateful." The word sounded like poison. "So grateful for the scraps of personhood you might grant me eventually." Silence fell between them. Heavy, unbridgeable. "I will not ask for your love," Silas said quietly, "or even your forgiveness, but I will free you." "Then do it." Amaya's voice was steel. "Or stop pretending you are different from them." She left. The papers remained on the table. Silas stared at them. He was doing the right thing. So why did it feel like failure? Mid-morning sun lit the yard when the courier arrived. He carried official papers sealed with wax. Silas read them twice. His blood went cold. "A property inspection, next week." Nathaniel appeared too quickly, too casually. "That is unfortunate timing." "You reported us." "I reported concerns, about order, about impropriety." Silas felt rage pulse through him. "You bastard!" "Careful, cousin." Nathaniel smiled. "The magistrate will want to see your records, your workers, your household arrangements." "There is nothing improper here." "Then you have nothing to fear." Nathaniel's eyes glinted. "Unless you hide something. Someone." Jonah approached quietly. "Sir, what will you do?" Silas looked at the papers, at Nathaniel's smirk, at the workers watching from the barn. "I could hide her," he said slowly, "in the woods until this passes." "You could," Nathaniel agreed, "if you want to look guilty." Amaya stepped from the kitchen. She had heard everything. Her face was unreadable. "They are coming for me," she said. It was not a question. "I will protect you," Silas said. "How? By hiding me like contraband? By lying to officials?" "If necessary." "No." Her voice was firm. "I will not hide." "Amaya, if I am free, prove it. If I am not, then we both know the truth." The courier shifted uncomfortably. Nathaniel laughed softly. Silas felt the world narrowing to this single choice. Hide her, lose her, or stand with her and risk everything. Night wrapped the storeroom in darkness. A single candle burned. Silas knelt beside Amaya's pallet. "You must let me hide you," he said, "just for a few days." "No." Amaya sat against the wall. "I will not be hidden like a sin. This is not about shame. It is about safety. It is about you being afraid." Her eyes found his. "Afraid of what choosing me will cost." Silas felt his throat tighten. I am afraid of losing you, of them taking you, selling you, destroying you. Then set me free, publicly, openly, today. The papers are not ready. It is not legal yet. Then it is not real. Amaya's voice was steady. You want to call me free in private, keep me enslaved in public. That is not fair. Nothing about this is fair. She stood. You say you want to change, to be different, to dismantle the system. I do. Then do it. She stepped closer. Stop hiding behind process, behind law, behind fear. Stand in the open and declare me free. They will destroy me. Yes. Amaya's breath caught. That is the cost. That is what real change demands. Silas stared at her. In the candlelight, she looked fierce, unbreakable, worth any price. If I do this, he said slowly, I may lose everything, and you may still choose to leave. I know. You would let me sacrifice my whole life and walk away? Yes. Amaya's voice was gentle now, because that is what freedom means. The candle flame danced. Silas felt his old world crumbling. Then I will do it, he said. The magistrate arrived under a pale, merciless sky. 2 armed men flanked him. Temperance rode behind, her face carefully neutral. Workers lined up in the yard. Records were examined. Questions were asked. Nathaniel whispered constantly in the magistrate's ear. Unusual leniencies, the magistrate said. He was a hard man with cold eyes. Reduced discipline, soft treatment. I run my property as I see fit, Silas said. Some say you have grown attached to certain individuals. Amaya stood near the kitchen. Every eye found her, assessed her, judged her. Where are the papers for this woman? The magistrate demanded. Silas felt his heart pound. I am freeing her, and Jonah, and the others. Silence crashed over the yard. Temperance went pale. Nathaniel smiled viciously. Freeing them? The magistrate's voice was ice. On what grounds? On the grounds that slavery is an abomination. Silas heard his own voice, steady, clear. And I will not profit from suffering anymore. This is madness, Nathaniel said. He has lost his mind over that girl. The magistrate studied Silas. Incomplete manumissions are illegal. These people remain your property, and your judgment is suspect. Then tell me your price, Silas said. Price? Everything has a price. Name yours. The magistrate smiled slowly. Your East Fields, your seat on the council, your good name in this community. Silas heard Amaya's sharp inhale. He did not look at her. Done, he said. The magistrate produced papers. Sign here, and here. This strips you of significant assets and influence. Silas's hand did not shake. He signed, and signed again. The magistrate nodded. The manumissions will be recognized, barely legal, but recognized. Amaya stood motionless, watching a man tear down his entire life, for her, for principle, for something he would never own. The main room felt cavernous and cold. Silas signed the last document. His hand was steady. His stomach was not. Reverend Pike stood nearby, pale but firm. The manumissions are legally sound, he said. I will witness them. Temperance looked away. Her piety had cracked. She could not watch this and pretend it was sin. You are a fool, Nathaniel hissed. You have destroyed yourself for nothing. Not for nothing, Silas said quietly. The magistrate gathered the papers. You are stripped of council privileges. Your land is forfeit. Your reputation is gone. I understand. Do you? The magistrate leaned close. You will be watched. Any hint of impropriety, and these papers become void. There will be no impropriety. See that there is not. The magistrate left with his men. The yard emptied slowly. Amaya stood at the edge of the gathering. She held a single paper. Her name was on it. Free. Legal. Final. She felt nothing. Everything. She could not name the emotions. Jonah approached Silas. "Sir, do not call me sir anymore," Silas said. His voice was rough. "You are free. You owe me nothing." Jonah's eyes were wet. "I owe you everything." "No, you owe yourself a life. Take it." Nathaniel stormed out, cursing. Temperance followed, silent and shaken. Silas stood alone in the devastated remains of his empire. Amaya watched him from across the room. This man had dismantled himself. She did not know if it was love, or madness, or both. Evening light turned the herb garden gold. Amaya knelt among the plants, fingers gentle on green leaves. She held the freedom paper in one hand. Silas found her there. "May I sit?" She nodded. He lowered himself onto the bench nearby. Exhaustion lined his face. "You destroyed yourself," Amaya said softly. "I freed you." "Those are not the same thing." Silas looked at the sky. "No, they are not." Silence settled between them, not hostile, just vast. "I will not ask anything from you," Silas said. "Not gratitude, not loyalty, not love. You are free, truly free." Amaya felt tears slide down her face. "What will you do now?" "Rebuild, differently, without bondage, without cruelty." "And me?" Her voice shook. "What do you want from me?" "Only what you freely choose to give," Silas said. "Even if that is nothing. Even if you leave tomorrow and never return." Amaya looked at him finally. This man who had owned her, who had freed her, who had sacrificed his world. "I do not know what I want," she whispered. "I have never been allowed to want." "Then learn," Silas said gently. "Take all the time you need." The garden smelled of earth and growing things. Amaya felt something unfold inside her chest. Not love. Not yet. But possibility. Fragile. Terrifying. Real. "I might stay," she said. "For a while. I would be honored. Not as your property, not as your debt. No, as yourself, whoever you choose to become." Amaya's breath caught. She nodded, unable to speak. The sun set slowly. They sat together in the fading light. Free, uncertain, beginning. Autumn gold touched the trees. Months had passed. The ranch looked different now, felt different. Jonah worked for wages. So did the others. They came and went freely. Decisions were shared at a long table. Amaya moved through the spaces like she owned them. Because she did. Not through property, through choice. She slept where she wanted, ate when she chose, spoke her mind without fear. Silas was thinner, quieter. He worked harder now, without the cushion of stolen labor. His hands were calloused. "A trader is passing through," Jonah said one morning, heading west, then south. Amaya looked up from her herbs. "Toward my mother's lands?" "Perhaps. You could travel with them, find your people." Silas heard this from the porch. His chest tightened, but he said nothing. That night, Amaya found him in the barn. "I am going to travel. To look for my family." "I understand." His voice was steady. "When?" "Next week, for several months at least." "Will you come back?" Amaya was silent. Then, "I do not know." Silas nodded. "You should go. You should see the world as a free woman. Decide who you are." "And if I decide I belong somewhere else?" "Then you belong somewhere else." Silas met her eyes. "I will not hold you, not with guilt, not with need." Amaya felt something warm in her chest. "You would let me go, just like that?" "I would grieve, but yes." She stepped closer. "You have changed." "You changed me." "No," Amaya said softly. "You changed yourself. I just made you look." The barn smelled of hay and horses. Between them stretched all the distance they had crossed. "I will miss you," Silas said. "I will miss you too." Amaya touched his hand briefly, then left. A week later, she rode away with the traders. Silas watched until dust swallowed her. He did not know if she would return, but he had let her choose. That was all that mattered. Years passed. Silas grew older. Silver touched his temples. The ranch became something rare and strange, a place where people worked for wages, where no chains existed, where freedom was not just paper but practice. Other freed people came, found refuge, built lives. The colony watched suspiciously, but could not deny it worked. Jonah stayed. A partner now, an equal. They built something together that resisted the current of their time. One cool morning, mist rose from the fields. Silas walked the yard, reviewing the day's work. He was content. Mostly. He thought of Amaya sometimes, wondered where she was, hoped she had found peace. Hooves sounded on the road. A single rider approached. Silas shaded his eyes against the rising sun. The figure dismounted. Tall, self-possessed, wearing clothes of her own choosing, Amaya. Silas felt his breath stop. She walked toward him slowly. Years had changed her, strengthened her. "Hello, Silas," she said. "Amaya." Her name felt like prayer. "You came back." "I did." She smiled. "I found my people, learned my history, saw the world as a free woman. And I chose to return. Not because I had to, because I wanted to." Silas felt tears sting his eyes. "Why?" "Because you let me go." Amaya stepped closer. "Because you became a man worth choosing." They stood facing each other. The distance between them was nothing now. Everything. "What happens now?" Silas asked. "Now we decide together." Amaya held out her hand. "As equals, as partners, as whatever we choose to become." Silas took her hand, carefully, reverently. "I would like that." The sun rose higher. The ranch waited. The world remained cruel and unjust. But here, in this small pocket of defiance, two people chose each other freely. And that was everything.